Nerio Vale hit the pavement hard enough to lose his breath. Rain struck his face, as one man pinned his shoulder, and another tore open his coat. A knife appeared beneath his chin. "Where is the ledger?" Nerio kept his mouth shut. The man struck him. Blood touched his lower lip. "You work for Corvain. You know where it is." Nerio still said nothing. Hi viewers, would you stay loyal to someone if his protection could put your life in danger? The fourth man grabbed Nerio's wrist. His fingers stopped when Nerio's sleeve pulled back. A black mark showed beneath the wet fabric. The man stared at it. No. The others looked down. 3 hours earlier, Dante Corvain had placed that mark on Nerio himself. The attacker released Nerio. Boss said the mark wouldn't matter. Nerio heard every word. Then headlights cut through the rain. A black sedan stopped beside the estate gates. Dante stepped out. He wore a dark coat, black shirt, and gloves. 2 guards followed him, but he lifted one hand and they stopped. Dante looked at Nerio first, then the knife, then the 4 men. Who touched him? Nobody answered. Dante walked closer. The man with the knife backed away. Dante noticed a security card hanging from his belt. He took it. His expression changed. The card belonged to his private security division. Only senior members of his organization could access it. Dante turned it over. The owner's name had been scratched away. Nerio pushed himself upright. Dante looked at the blood on his mouth. "Are you hurt?" Nerio nodded. Dante faced the attackers again. "You were told the mark wouldn't matter." One man swallowed. "Yes." "Who told you?" Silence. Dante handed the card to a guard. "Take them inside." As the men were dragged away, one kept staring at Nerio, not with anger, with fear. Nerio noticed it. The attack had not been about hurting him. Someone had wanted Dante to see it, and someone inside Dante's organization had made sure the attackers could reach him. Dante took Nerio into the estate before the rain could soak through his clothes. The doctor cleaned the cut on Nerio's mouth and examined the bruising around his wrist. Nerio sat rigidly, while Dante read the security report near the window. "You can remove the mark," Nerio said. Dante looked over. "I can." "Then do it." "No." Nerio frowned. Dante placed the report on the desk. "The mark does not make you mine. Everyone outside thinks it does. That is their problem." Nerio rubbed his wrist. "Then what does it mean?" "Anyone who harms you answers to me." The words should have comforted him. They did not. Dante opened the report. "The men knew where you would be. They knew about the mark. One carried a private security card. Gideon's division? Yes. Nerio knew Gideon Strake. Dante's operations director controlled drivers, warehouse crews, routes, and private security. He has worked for you for 12 years. I know. Do you trust him?" Dante paused. "I trusted him." Nerio pulled a notebook from his coat. "I found something before the attack." He opened it. Several shipment numbers were circled. These deliveries changed after leaving the warehouse. The original records show one destination. The final records show another. Dante studied the pages. How many? 27. Value. Enough to bring federal attention. Nerio pointed to the dates. Every altered shipment passed through a security shift, controlled by Gideon's department. Dante's eyes narrowed. Who else can change those records? 3 people. Names? Nerio gave them. Dante's phone rang. A security officer reported that one attacker had started talking. Dante listened. Then his face hardened. The man claimed Gideon had ordered the assault. Nerio watched him end the call. What did he say? He said, "Gideon told them your mark was only a bluff." Nerio felt his stomach tighten. Dante walked toward the door. "Then we find out who taught Gideon to believe that." Before he reached it, the estate lights went out. Blackness swallowed the room. A crash sounded from the evidence hall. Then another. 3 seconds later, the lights returned. The locked evidence room stood open. Dante moved quickly. The security card he had taken from the attacker was gone. So was the copy of Nerio's shipment notebook. The missing security card changed everything. Dante ordered every exit sealed. Guards searched the estate while Nerio remained in the library. A laptop sat open on the table. Nerio's employee file filled the screen. His salary had been changed. His home address was wrong. His emergency contact had been replaced. Nerio stared at it. Someone rewrote my file. Dante nodded. Why? To make you disappear on paper. Nerio looked at him. Or make me look like someone else. An alert appeared. Nerio had received a large bank deposit. He had never seen the account before. Dante opened the transaction. The money had passed through 3 companies before reaching Nerio. The final company was a charity, controlled by one of Gideon's associates. If police find this, Dante said, they can accuse you of laundering money. Nerio looked at the screen. And if I run, they can say you knew you were guilty. Nerio closed the laptop. I am not staying here as a prisoner. Dante studied him. You can leave. Nerio blinked. You're letting me? I am giving you a choice. The answer caught him off guard. Nerio returned to his apartment under security escort. The door was unlocked. Inside, nothing seemed disturbed. Then he noticed the bedroom wall. A photograph of his younger cousin was missing. Nerio searched the room. Under his mattress, he found a folded piece of paper. 3 words were written across it. Stop looking back. He carried it to Dante. Dante read it once. This is about more than the shipments. My family? Dante did not answer. Instead, he ordered an old personnel file brought upstairs. It belonged to Gideon's younger brother. Nerio read the date of death, 6 years earlier. He looked at the shipment records. One altered delivery had happened that same night. Who was he? A driver, Dante said. He died during an operation that went wrong. Did you order it? Dante's face tightened. No. Nerio looked at him. Then who did? Dante opened the old file. The original report was missing. Only a revised copy remained. Someone had changed the details after the death. Nerio studied the page. The handwriting in the margin matched the notes from his shipment records. Someone had been altering records for years. And now that person was building a criminal case around Nerio. Gideon Strake arrived before sunrise. He entered Dante's office alone and closed the door. Nerio stood near the window. Gideon looked at him. You should not be here. Dante slid the security report across the desk. 4 men attacked him. I heard. One carried your division's card. Gideon glanced at the report. My cards are tracked. Not this one. Dante placed a photograph beside it. Gideon stared. That card was deactivated 6 years ago. Nerio looked at him. 6 years. Gideon nodded. My brother died that year. Dante opened an old file. Your brother's operation was based on intelligence you supplied. Gideon's jaw tightened. That report was changed. By whom? I don't know. Nerio stepped closer. The shipment that disappeared that night passed through your division. Gideon looked at him. My brother believed someone was moving money through legitimate warehouses. That is what I found. Gideon's anger shifted. My brother warned Dante. Dante looked at him. I never received that warning. Someone intercepted it. Gideon's phone rang. He listened. His face changed. Someone broke into my house. Dante stood. Did they take anything? My brother's photograph. Nerio felt his chest tighten. The same thing had happened in his apartment. Someone was collecting pieces from everyone connected to the old case. Gideon left. Nerio turned to Dante. You believe him? I believe someone wants us fighting each other. Dante opened another file. Inside was a photograph of Gideon's brother beside a woman who had worked for Dante. Nerio recognized her. She was in the warehouse records. Dante nodded. She died 2 years later. Nerio pointed to the woman's jacket. A small silver pin sat near her collar. He had seen the same pin in the photograph taken outside his apartment. Someone connected to the old investigation was still alive. That night, Nerio found another record. A payment had been made 6 years earlier to a private clinic. The patient used a false name. The date matched the night Gideon's brother disappeared. Nerio stared at the screen. Who was the patient? Dante opened the file. His face changed. The name was hidden beneath a code. Nerio leaned closer. The medical record carried one identifying detail: a scar above the left eyebrow. Gideon's brother had that scar. The man might not have died that night. He might have been moved. And if he survived, someone had spent 6 years making sure nobody found him. Nerio stopped sleeping normally. Every sound outside the guest apartment made him sit up. Every unknown number on his phone made his hand tighten. Dante noticed. He never mentioned it. Instead, he left the office door open while Nerio worked late. It was a small gesture. Nerio understood it. Neither man trusted the situation. But they were beginning to trust each other. Nerio spent 2 nights reviewing company files. Dante joined him after midnight. They worked across from each other beneath one desk lamp. Nerio found another pattern. The altered shipments were not random. They all passed through warehouses controlled by the same regional supervisor. That supervisor reported to Gideon, but the payments bypassed Gideon. They went to an account controlled by someone higher. Nerio showed Dante the records. Who can approve transfers at this level? Dante studied the account. 3 people. Gideon? No. Your accountant? No. Nerio looked at him. Then who? Dante opened a private file. One name was highlighted. Vivienne Corvain. Dante's mother. Nerio looked at him. She has access? She founded the trust controlling the older companies. Does she still use it? Officially, no. Nerio stared at the records. The woman connected to the old investigation had access to the money, but there was no proof she had used it. We need evidence, Dante said. Nerio nodded. Later, he found Dante alone in the library. The Mafia boss held an old photograph of his father. Dante looked younger in it. Nerio had never seen that version of him. My father taught me never to trust anyone completely, Dante said. Nerio sat across from him. Did it work? For years. What changed? Dante looked at the photograph. People. Nerio understood. The next morning, a guard reported that one of the arrested attackers had been found unconscious. Before losing consciousness, he had whispered one name, Vivienne. Dante went still. Nerio watched him. Your mother? Dante did not answer. He opened the evidence file. The name appeared beside the charity account, the security division, and one old warehouse transfer. Then Dante found another payment. It had been made 6 years ago to a private clinic. The recipient was listed under a false name. The date matched Gideon's brother's disappearance. Nerio looked at the screen. Open it. Dante did. The patient record appeared. Nerio stopped breathing. The name belonged to his brother. He had spent 6 years believing his brother was dead. Now the record proved he had been alive, after the night everyone said he died. And someone connected to Dante's own family had paid to keep that truth hidden. The medical record remained open between them. Nerio stared at the name. His brother had been alive. For 6 years, he had carried a grave that never existed. Dante closed the file. Nerio. He stepped back. Your mother knew. I don't know that yet. The payment came from her trust. Dante's voice stayed controlled, but his hand tightened around the edge of the desk. Nerio shook his head. You said she had no involvement. I said I had no proof. You knew she had access. Yes, and you let me believe you were protecting me. Dante looked at him. I was protecting you. From her? From everyone. Nerio laughed once, without humor. That is what powerful men always say. He walked toward the door. Dante did not stop him. Nerio turned back. The mark. Dante waited. Was that protection too? Yes. Or was I bait? Silence. Nerio's face hardened. Dante finally answered. Both. The word landed harder than any threat. Dante explained that after discovering someone inside his organization was targeting Nerio, he had marked him deliberately. The mark would force anyone planning an attack to reveal themselves. Nerio stared at him. You knew they would come. I suspected. You put me in danger. I made sure they couldn't disappear after touching you. That doesn't make it right. No. Dante did not defend himself. That made Nerio angrier. He picked up his coat. I need to leave. Dante stepped aside. Nerio walked out. No guard followed. No order came over the phone. For the first time since Dante had marked him, Nerio walked through the city, without anyone claiming authority over where he went. 3 hours later, someone tried to grab him outside a closed restaurant. Nerio saw the black sedan before the door opened. He ran. The first man missed his arm. Nerio struck him with the metal handle of a dumpster and kept moving. A second man chased him into an alley. Nerio reached the street and disappeared into a crowd. His phone vibrated. One message. You should have stayed with Dante. Nerio stopped walking. The message told him everything. They wanted him afraid. They wanted him back under Dante's protection. Instead, Nerio went somewhere neither side expected. He returned to the old warehouse. The place was empty. He used the brass key he had kept since the first investigation. A hidden door opened beneath a storage shelf. Inside was a narrow room. Boxes lined the walls. One contained his brother's belongings: a watch, a passport, 3 photographs, and a small notebook. Nerio opened it. The first page contained a name: Vivienne Corvain. The second contained dates. The third contained a warning. If anything happens to me, Dante is not the one responsible. Nerio's breath caught. Then he found the final page. Gideon knows where the records are. A floorboard creaked behind him. Nerio turned. Gideon stood in the doorway. He looked exhausted. You found it. Nerio held up the notebook. You knew. I knew your brother was alive after the operation. Where is he? I don't know. You're lying. Gideon stepped closer. I helped him escape. Nerio froze. Why? Because I realized my brother had been used. Vivienne told me Dante ordered the operation. She gave me the report. Gideon looked at the notebook. But your brother found the original. Nerio's voice dropped. What happened to him? He ran. Where? I don't know. Gideon reached into his coat and placed a folded document on the floor. The last address. Nerio picked it up. A repair shop in Baltimore. The document was dated 6 years earlier. Nerio looked at Gideon. Why give this to me now? Because I finally understand who I was fighting. Gideon turned away. And because Vivienne knows I have it. Nerio's phone rang. Dante, he answered. Where are you? Nerio gave no location. Dante's voice was quiet. Gideon is missing. He is here. A pause. Leave. Nerio looked toward the doorway. Why? Because my mother knows where you are. The warehouse lights suddenly went out. Nerio heard the metal door slam. Someone had locked them inside. Gideon cursed. Then footsteps sounded above them. Nerio held the document against his chest. Dante's voice remained on the phone. Whatever happens, do not open the second door. The footsteps stopped directly above them. Then a key entered the lock. Nerio looked at Gideon. Neither man moved. The door opened. A woman stepped inside. Vivienne Corvain. She smiled at Nerio. You finally found your brother's trail. Vivienne entered the warehouse without a guard. That frightened Nerio more than if she had arrived with 10 men. She looked at Gideon. You were always easier to manipulate than you believed. Gideon stepped forward. You killed my brother. No. Vivienne's answer was immediate. I convinced you that Dante did. Nerio felt his stomach tighten. Where is my brother? Vivienne looked at him. Alive. The word nearly broke his knees. Where? Somewhere far from this city. Why? Because your brother discovered what Dante's father had built. Nerio stared. Dante's father. Vivian nodded. The organization was never as clean as Dante believed. She explained that years earlier, Dante's father had created secret financial networks, connecting legitimate businesses to criminal operations. When Dante inherited the organization, he began dismantling parts of it. Vivian believed that made him weak. She wanted control. Gideon's brother had discovered the hidden network. Nerio's brother discovered it later. Both became liabilities. Vivian had not ordered their deaths. She had arranged for them to disappear. That distinction did not make her innocent. It made her calculated. Nerio took out his phone. Vivian noticed. "You're recording." "Yes," Vivian smiled. "You think that will save you?" "No." Nerio looked directly at her. "It will prove you said it." Vivian's smile disappeared. The warehouse doors opened. Dante entered. His gun remained lowered. He looked at his mother. "I told you to leave him alone." Vivian turned. "You became sentimental." "No." Dante's voice stayed calm. "I became tired of cleaning up your mistakes." Vivian laughed. "You still believe you can control this organization." Dante looked at Gideon. Then Nerio. "I don't need to control everyone." He took out his phone. "I only need the truth." A recording began playing. Vivian's own voice filled the warehouse. Her confession. Every word. Every admission. She looked toward the ceiling. Security officers surrounded the building. Nerio realized Dante had not come to rescue him. He had come prepared to expose his own mother. Vivian looked at him. "You think this will make you safe?" Nerio answered before Dante could. "No." He stepped forward. "It makes me free." Vivian was arrested before sunrise. The investigation that followed reached farther than anyone expected. Financial records were seized. Old companies were closed. Former employees were questioned. The hidden network began breaking apart. Gideon surrendered his position and agreed to testify. Nerio's brother became the most important witness in the case. He returned to the city 3 weeks later. Nerio met him at the airport. For several seconds, neither brother spoke. Then they held each other. 6 years disappeared in one embrace. His brother explained that he had spent years moving between safe locations because he believed Vivian's people were still searching for him. He had wanted to contact Nerio. He had been afraid that doing so would expose him. Nerio understood. Fear had controlled both brothers for too long. When they returned to the city, Dante was waiting outside. Nerio's brother looked at him. "You knew about the operation?" Dante shook his head. "I knew there were missing records." "That is not the same thing." "No." Dante accepted the accusation. "I should have looked harder." Nerio's brother studied him. Then he nodded. The investigation eventually cleared Dante of ordering the disappearances. It did not clear his organization of everything. Dante accepted that. He closed businesses connected to the hidden network. He surrendered financial records. He paid employees whose wages had been withheld by corrupt executives. For the first time, his name appeared in newspapers without fear attached to it. Some called him a criminal. Some called him a reformer. Dante ignored both. Nerio left the estate. He returned to his old apartment. Then he realized he no longer wanted it. He rented a small office and began working independently as a financial investigator. No one introduced him as Dante's marked Omega. He was simply Nerio Vale. Months passed. One afternoon, Dante entered the office. He placed a folder on the desk. Nerio looked at it. "What is that?" "A business proposal." Nerio opened it. "A legitimate security company. Clean accounts. Independent management. Equal partnership." Nerio read every page. Then he looked at Dante. "You want me to work for you?" "No." Dante sat across from him. "I want to work with you." Nerio studied the agreement. There was no ownership clause. No demand for loyalty. No personal condition. No mention of the mark. Nerio closed the folder. "I need time." Dante nodded. Take it. He stood. Nerio watched him reach the door. Dante. He stopped. The mark. Dante turned. I can remove it. Nerio looked at his wrist. The black symbol had once meant fear. Then protection. Now it meant something else. Choice. Not yet. Dante's expression softened. Why? Because I don't want you deciding when it disappears. Dante nodded. Then it stays until you decide. He left. Nerio looked down at his wrist. For the first time, the mark did not feel like a chain. It felt like a reminder of how far he had come. A year earlier, people had believed hurting him was easy, because nobody powerful stood behind him. They had been wrong. Not because Dante owned him, because Nerio had learned to stand behind himself. And that was the lesson no one in Dante's world had expected. Power could protect a person. Money could open doors. Fear could keep enemies away. But none of those things could create trust. Trust had to be given. Freely. Months later, Nerio accepted Dante's partnership offer. He negotiated the agreement himself. Dante accepted every condition. Nerio received equal voting rights. His own accounts remained separate. He could leave at any time. The office beside Dante's became his. No assistant title. No subordinate position. No hidden conditions. One evening, Nerio found Dante standing near the window. The city lights stretched below them. Dante looked at Nerio's wrist. You still haven't removed it. Nerio smiled. I haven't decided to. Dante walked closer. He stopped before touching him. Nerio closed the distance. Their hands met. Nothing was demanded. Nothing was owed. Nerio had spent years believing being protected meant becoming someone else's responsibility. Now he understood the difference. Being protected did not mean being owned. Being loved did not mean being controlled. And being untouchable did not mean nobody could hurt him. It meant he finally knew his own worth. Dante had marked him once, because the world needed to understand that hurting Nerio would have consequences. Nerio kept the mark because he had learned something greater. The person who had once needed protection had become the person nobody could control. And when Dante asked him to stay, Nerio did not stay because he was marked. He stayed because he was free to leave, and he chose not to.